everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And filling in for Mark, I'm Dan. Oh, wait, no.
Wait
No,
a second.
I'm just back.
Yeah, it was the Frank and Mark show for a little
It
bit.
really was, boy. And he did a whiz bang of a job.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can still smell the mustache residue on the microphone.
The special oils,
He's good.
the waxes.
The various and sundry products that one uses to maintain an epic mustache. Hey, thanks, Mark, for filling in for me. That was that was awesome and universally revered, I think, by all of the people who wrote in.
Apparently, yeah.
So-
it was a very good response.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah,
It's nice to hear.
Nice to know that I'm not needed. Great, thanks, guys.
That was actually a lot of the feedback.
Thanks for making sure that I feel completely not.
I quickly deleted all those emails.
Yeah.
Save your little feelings.
They came through. They came through. Don't think I don't know. Anyway, let's see if I can remember how to do this thing.
It's good to have you back, Dan.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I was gone and learning how to write. That was part of the thing. I was on a writing workshop
Oh, yeah.
and then also just gallivanting. Did me a bit of gallivanting
As one does.
around Southern Europe. Anywho, should we do a podcast here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll start.
Okay.
Well, let's see if I can still tell a story on a show. See if I can still got it.
Oh, boy. A little rusty.
Little rusty. I'm going to shake off some of that rust and talk to you about a man, a British man,
Oh.
74 years young, living in Saudi Arabia.
This is not going to go well.
Well, we tend not to tell a lot of stories that go really well, so that's probably a given.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, Carl Andree, a British fellow who living in Saudi. He's lived there for 25 years.
Wow. It's home.
Yeah. He was arrested for a crime,
Oh, no.
and that crime is wine.
Delicious, delicious wine.
Oh, that delicious crime of wine. You're not allowed to have alcohol in the Saudi Arabia.
There's something about that, isn't
which
there?
which is a thing, and he had some, and that is not acceptable.
Oh.
And he has now been rotting in jail for a year, awaiting a sentence.
A year?
Yeah. Just sitting there chilling. And now the sentence has come through. Here he faces 350 lashes.
Oh, my God.
I'm not really sure
What's up with these people?
how lashes end up working out. Is it with a whip? Is it with
I think so.
a cat of nine
caning?
tails?
Is it a caning?
Well, it's lashes. That feels like it's those are
two different things.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's more a Singaporean sort of deal. The caning, I feel. Or at least the last time I heard about a caning, it was
In Singapore.
in Singapore.
Yeah.
So
Okay. They're strict.
they're worried about him. He apparently has severe asthma and has suffered cancer thrice. Threefold
God.
times he has survived cancer.
Oh, this poor guy.
So the British the British government is trying to get involved and trying to get this guy freed. But boy, they take a couple bottles of wine pretty serious over there in the Saudi.
Yeah, I never want to hear anybody complain about Utah's liquor laws ever again.
Right? Right? Oh, you can't get a drink here. Oh, yeah?
Go to Saudi Arabia.
You're not going to get lashes. Tell you that.
And first of all, you can get a drink.
Yeah,
Here.
it's pretty easy. Frank's drunk right now.
Oh, yeah. I start early.
So there you go.
That's a tragic story.
Yeah.
I hope that works out for him.
Yeah,
You'll
well,
have to update us, Dan.
it's already not worked out for him.
Yeah, I guess that's
It's
true.
too late for it to work out
I guess
for
I
him.
mean the not getting lashes part of the story. Because, you know what? I mean, you don't want to spend a year in jail.
No.
Never. But
Or especially, I imagine...
once you add in corporal punishment.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I imagine a Saudi jail is particularly inhospitable. It just seems like that would be like the worst one.
It could go either way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe he's in the...
There might be some weird Islamic thing about treating your prisoners well. I couldn't even say it.
Yeah. Something tells me that the kind of society that wants to offer lashes and cuts off hands and stuff is not going to be...
Doesn't invest much in their prison system.
It's not going to be... Yeah. He's not...
They don't see it as an opportunity for reform.
Well,
it's just punishment.
They'll reform him. Something tells me if he gets out of this alive, he's not going to be smuggling much wine.
All right.
After this, anyway.
Ugh. All right. Well, Dan, you've worked for tips at one point in your life, as have I.
You talking about my stripper days? Yes.
Yes, yes, Dan.
Yes, we've both worked for tips. That has happened on occasion.
All right. Well, a Domino's delivery driver in Ohio,
Sure,
was the surprise target of a church's stunt.
Oh,
where I watched the video. Because they couldn't just do what they did without videotaping it.
right.
She sort of shows up, she's kind of wandering around with her little delivery bag thing, right, with the pizza in it. She's walking around, and they ordered one pizza. Right?
Okay.
So the tab was $5.99.
Oh,
so she's wandering around. She's out in the lobby. She gets sort of whisked into the sanctuary. Right?
Oh, sure.
And
which is where you eat the pizza.
Yeah.
If you're in a church.
And it was one of those sort of newfangled band churches.
Rock and roll church.
It's a rock and roll church. Yeah.
Sure.
What do you call that?
I don't know.
Anyway, they
I call it awful.
These non-denominational things.
Sure.
You don't like religion? Well, try us.
Yeah, they're great for the youth. Just love it.
Yeah,
the youth just go in for it.
So she gets whisked into there and up to the front, up onto the stage, and the pastor explains that they've been talking a lot about generosity this month. It's kind of been their theme, and he asks her, "What's the biggest tip you've ever gotten?" She responds, about $10. So he gives her $15.
Ooh.
He says, and he kind of goes, "Nah, that's your tip, but now we have a gift for you." And he gives her a wad of cash in the amount of $1,046.
Wow.
So, yeah, generosity.
It's a lovely gift.
They were being nice, I guess. They were being nice.
Sure.
You can't...
That's nice.
It's nice. That's a nice thing. You really made this delivery driver's day.
Sure.
Probably week.
Yeah.
Maybe month.
Yeah.
Right? But it was gross. The whole thing was so gross to watch.
Yeah.
It was so self-congratulatory, and it was... The main problem is...
Well, if they're making a video of it...
They made a video.
They're like trying to go viral.
Yeah.
They're like trying to get publicity out of it. It's a stunt.
It's a stunt.
It's a publicity stunt.
It's a total, complete stunt. And I was just so bothered. I was bothered by when I read the headline, because I was like, this did not go well.
Well, in St. Mark's epistle to the Ephesians or whatever, St. Paul's epistle to the something, it does say, and make thou then videos, therefore, that thou mayest
post them,
that thou mayest send thy message wide unto the world,
and repost them,
and
onto your friends,
and encourage thou thy friends to
like them,
to like and or share. So saith
Yeah,
Here
so-
endeth the lesson.
I mean, I know in their minds they're sort of delivering the good word. You know?
Yeah.
Hey, look at what we did. You guys could do something similar. That's probably how they would defend themselves. It's the quiet generosity. It's the
But it's
doing
not-
it behind closed doors where I think that's the lesson you want to teach.
Yeah.
You know, like why do you have to like go and like make it this big deal and this big braggy opportunity?
Well, there's also the sense of like $1,000 would feed a lot of homeless people
Yeah.
for a bit. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it could given to a good organization. That $1,000 stretches quite a bit further.
Right.
It's nice to give it to a pizza delivery lady. She's probably not, she's not wealthy if she's
No.
delivering pizza, so
No.
she can use it for sure.
Certainly.
And I don't begrudge it her, but people need to be thoughtful about their generosity.
I think so too.
Anyway,
Because, I mean, they also this was the Russian roulette of generosity as well. Because, I mean, they just as easily could have had a crackhead come in,
yeah.
or somebody who's all methed up.
Oh, how great would it have been if
delivering
somebody had
the
been like,
pizza.
"Oh, hail Satan! I needed this so badly." Oh, hail Satan! Thank you so much. Boy, let me tell you something. That Lucifer works in mysterious ways because I did not see it coming from a church.
Boo!
They're like, "We're taking that back. You can't have it. Give us back our money."
Stop recording, everyone.
Wait, cancel. Nope, you already gave it to me.
Oh, it's live to
No
YouTube.
take-backs.
Oh, shit.
No takebacks.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, all right. Well, I'm going to move on to India.
India?
India. Land of the former home of one Mother Teresa.
Oh, yeah.
Not my mother. Hashtag not my mother.
Thank God.
Right? Yeah. Apparently, one of the organizations that Mother Teresa did start, called the Missionaries of Charity.
Uh-oh. What evil things do they do?
Well, one of the things that they do or have done is adoption services.
Oh,
So that's nice.
that's good.
They don't do that anymore, though.
Oh,
They have apparently sought derecognition from the Central Adoption Resource Authority, because now they would be forced. There are new guidelines apparently that would allow single, separated, or divorced individuals to adopt children.
terrible.
They just won't
terrible.
hear of it. And do you want to
Those
know?
children should not ever have to deal with being in a loving home
with
where there might be somebody who was divorced.
right,
Just horrible.
one person raising a child
Awful.
can't be done.
Care for them individually, provide for them. This is the worst thing I can imagine ever happening.
Right. Better they should stay in the orphanage.
Absolutely.
Better they should stay in the. Now, in fairness to them, they had good reason for this.
Oh, okay. Good.
I'll read a quote.
Please.
This is from Sister Amala, the head nun at the missionaries' home in North Delhi. The new guidelines hurt our conscience. They are certainly not for religious people like us. What if the single parent who we give our baby to turns out to be gay or lesbian? What security or moral upbringing will these children get?
Oh.
Our rules only allow married
true.
couples to adopt.
Yeah, because nothing's ever gone wrong
No, straight
with a
married
child
couples
being raised with a straight married couple.
are good people,
Yeah.
and divorced gay people are bad people.
Not fit for raising children.
No, absolutely not.
In no circumstance. Ever.
Yeah.
It's awful. Oh, their poor little consciences. Those poor ladies.
It really is sad. It really,
I'm glad they're protecting their consciences.
yeah.
They're thinking of their consciences first before they think of the children. And I think that's the right thing to do.
They think they're thinking of the children. I think it's clear that they think that better to be in an orphanage than a loving home with queers all
That
around.
sounds exactly like Mother Teresa. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Good.
So there you go. Continuing the fine work.
Hey, Dan.
Yo.
Are you in the market for a gun?
Sure, always.
I've got a gun store for you.
Ooh.
If you find yourself in Kingston, Tennessee anytime soon,
Seems likely.
you can waltz into the Frontier Firearms
Okay.
and announce that you're a Christian, and you'll get 5% off your next gun purchase.
Well, I like the waltzing idea. That's fun for me.
They might not give you the 5% discount
If you waltz.
if you waltzed in. No.
Of course they give a Christian discount.
In
Of
the
course they do.
aftermath of the Oregon shooting, the mass shooting in Oregon, Brant Williams, the owner of Frontier Firearms, decided that if Christians are going to be targeted, quote, we need to protect ourselves. The best way to protect yourself is with the best weapon available, and that happens to be a handgun.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll give him that because I tried to protect myself with one of those slingshots one time. Just takes too long. You load it, and then they're not good at point blank range. It's just
Yeah.
Oh my
so
God. Well,
he's definitely yeah.
I don't remember if you and Mark talked about this, but it looks like did you read about this that gunman in Oregon probably wasn't actually targeting Christians?
I know it's only sort of at this point been alleged.
Well, no,
I don't think it's
apparently witnesses all sort of concur that he was asking people what their religion was, and then he would shoot them.
Yeah, but then the key is what he said right after that.
Right, where he would say, "I'll see you in heaven."
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
So like that's not targeting Christians. That's just like, hey, you'll be all right. You're going to heaven.
Yeah.
Kaboom.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of targeting Christians.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it was.
But thank God
All
this
you
guy.
have to do is say he was asking what your religion was,
Right.
and then media ran with that because that's what I heard initially.
Yeah.
while it was still like breaking news.
Yeah.
and then as people got more information, but by the time more information comes out, the story isn't
It's
the
dead.
breaking news anymore.
Right. Yeah.
People don't care.
Yeah. You don't ever hear
The narrative's been created.
Dateline correction.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
We have a correction.
It's slightly different. The story that we told before is a little bit different.
No, they don't do that.
No.
No.
Yeah, but now, okay, go get your guns, everybody.
Woohoo!
Matter of fact, here's what I will encourage. If you're going to go buy a gun, go ask if the gun store near you offers a Christian discount.
How about a Muslim? I'm a Muslim.
Do you have a discount for
A
Muslims?
discount.
Oh, I want to go into that store, the Christian store, and be like, hey, equal time here. I'm Muslim. What do you got? What's it? I assume there's a discount
I
for
need a gun.
for all the Abrahamic religions. I assume that there's. I don't expect the full 5%, but 3% would be nice.
Yeah.
I'll be buying a lot of guns. I'm going to blow things up.
No, Dan.
Oh, okay.
It's just for defense, because when they come after you for being a believer,
Yeah.
you have to have defense.
Boy,
You have to defend yourself.
and these
man.
Christians whip themselves up into such a frenzy over people are coming for them.
Whatever happened to just being a martyr?
Well, right? Just be killed.
Yeah.
That's your job.
That's what the early Christians did.
Yeah.
Did you see them walking into gun stores?
No. There was not a single Christian in ancient Roman times with
In
a
gun
gun.
stores.
They didn't. They would
I
not.
know.
They
They
refused.
didn't do it.
They positively refused to buy a gun.
Stupid.
It's really stupid. Moving on. When I was in France just a few weeks ago, just last week, I went into a Catholic cathedral.
Yeah,
Lovely
they
cathedral.
have those.
They have many, many, many of them. And eventually, they all blur together, and you're like, oh, look, this one's also tall, made of stone, and musty.
And beautiful.
Yeah. Anyway, this one had this amazing alcove that had reliquaries
I love relics.
of all of these different saints. It was really great. You had to put in, if you wanted to see well, you had to put your €2 coin in depending on how much time you're willing to spend, you could put €1 coin in for some light, but in order for it to light up, you have to pay. Anywho,
That sounds about right.
yeah, these are all, of course, a relic is the bones or a bit of a body of a saint.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
And they're imbued with magical powers, right?
Yeah, you can pray to them, and you know your IBS will stop or whatever. I'm not sure how it works exactly, but it's all
right there on the spot.
It's all very magical. Well, that kind of magic came recently to a small church in suburban Chicago.
Oh shit! Really? Okay.
The remains of Maria Goretti.
Who's that?
She's like one of the youngest saints ever. Oh yeah.
Really?
She died at 11 years old.
Oh my.
No, her story is pretty tragic. Someone attempted, this was only in 1902 that this happened. Someone attempted to rape her, and in so doing stabbed her many a time.
Oh.
Yeah, not a good thing. But she is a saint in large part because on her deathbed, she said that she forgave the guy and wanted to see him with her in heaven, hoped that he would repent.
And then there were 2 miracles surrounding her somehow.
Right, yeah. I mean, people prayed to her and, you know, their IBS cleared up or whatever. Anyway,
Right.
So she became a saint.
Are there relics of her? She's so new.
Her whole skeleton is now encased in a wax sculpture.
My God.
And is apparently on tour.
Oh my God. That is just what? How can they? How? How do they continue to do this? I mean, I get when like you have an old church.
Yeah, you think about it,
And
like
they claim that they have the finger of Saint Thomas.
Right.
And it's like, okay.
and there's 22 of them out there, so it's
He had
like
a lot of fingers.
It's like what? But yeah, no, this is her entire skeleton encased in a wax statue, in a wax. Yeah,
Oh.
it's like the creepiest Madame Tussauds exhibit that has ever existed.
Yeah.
Going around in a glass coffin.
Oh.
Oh, they are a morbid crowd. These Catholics, I'll tell you
I
what.
just don't know how it's officially part of the religion.
Oh,
that
you know
has
what?
official space, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, because, it's just disgusting. And it doesn't make any sense.
No.
Like, none.
Oh,
Not that the rest of it makes sense.
shocking that a religion
No,
would
I
have
know,
a thing
but,
that doesn't make any sense. Frank is disgusted.
That's just awful. So where is it going? Are we on the tour?
No, I don't.
It's not coming to Salt Lake?
I think that maybe
Coast to coast tour?
the Catholics might not make it here.
Oh, I saw a brand new Catholic church out on Redwood Road yesterday.
Oh yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Oh cool.
Really nice.
We should
really
go check it out.
beautiful architecture. Brand new. They're still putting the finishing touches on it.
Good.
But nice, like concrete and wood and just.
Oh, I
very-
know this. That wasn't. I thought that opened a while ago, or
It looked like there was work happening.
Oh,
so
okay.
maybe it was repairs. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But it definitely there was something going on.
There you go.
And it looked all shiny and new, so I just assumed. But anyway, all right, Dan.
Yeah.
There is a trend in this country right now.
Cool.
And this is going to
me, I'm all about the
It's going
trends.
to take a minute to tie in.
Okay.
But it's a trend. A lot of our cities are starting to do protected bike lanes.
Sure. Including our fair city.
Including Salt Lake City. And if you do not know what a protected bike lane is, it's where they sort of reconfigure sort of the traditional layout of the road, where you have sidewalk, and then immediately adjacent to the sidewalk you have some parking, and then you have
Lanes
a
of
little
traffic.
lane. You have lanes of traffic, but before you get to the lanes of traffic, there'll be like a little strip that's been painted out for the bike lane.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a lot of problems with that one. Obviously, the bikes are, in the mix, out with the traffic. It's
Right.
dangerous. Car doors open, and they get cyclists get doored.
Yeah.
Right. And so someone somewhere, probably in Copenhagen, came up with the idea of sort of doing it a little differently.
Right.
Doing sidewalk, then a lane for the bikes that has a nice curbing on both sides and space. Right. Before you then have, and nice wide space often. At least in Salt Lake, they're really nice and wide. And then you have your parking, and then you have your traffic.
Right. So the traffic would have to go through parked cars to get anywhere near the bikes.
Exactly.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, and the little curb between the parked cars and the bikes is wide enough that the door, you really can't door the cyclist.
Right. I've been trying, but it's hard.
And, let's face it, sadly, there are fewer people coming out the passenger side than come out of the driver's side.
Right. So the driver's
and
side
so the likelihood of being doored
is lower.
Is a lot lower anyway. But, so this is happening, right?
Yes.
And wherever they happen, there's initial pushback.
Right.
Because you often lose a lane of traffic.
Yeah.
Or you lose a little bit of parking or
a
whatever.
lot of parking.
Or a lot of parking. Depends. There are ways to mitigate all of this.
Right.
But anywho, they've seen great results. Here in Salt Lake, the retail along one of the protected bike lanes is up 30%.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Or some high percentage. I can't remember what it was. But it's markedly, there's more foot traffic. It was a 30% increase in cycling on that street. Mm-hmm. So the cyclists feel safer in these lanes. But the retail has seen an uptick because there's more foot traffic.
Okay.
People enjoy walking along these streets more because the traffic isn't quite as intense. Because traffic gets slowed as well. Anyway, now here comes the tie-in. So DC is working on a protected bike lane proposal that goes near the United House of Prayer.
Oh.
Which is located in the 600 block of M Street, Northwest. And the city's open to suggestions still, and they're just trying to figure it out where we can have some problems, whatever. Well, this church is saying that the bike lane would infringe upon its constitutional right of religious freedom.
Huh? Oh, because they have a right because of I don't know what
parking, Dan. Parking while the street is configured for parallel parking on Sundays when they have a lot of traffic coming to the church. The city has been kind enough to let them do diagonal parking.
Oh.
Just on Sundays. They kind of look the other way. And this, because the bike lanes are wide in this kind of configuration, they are losing a lane of traffic, and they just won't have the space to do this diagonal parking anymore.
So that, I mean, thinking about it, they're probably still going to have on-street parking. It's just going to be parallel.
It'll be parallel, yeah.
So they're losing maybe 4 parking spaces?
I don't know.
8?
I don't know what the block looks like, but they're losing some space.
Okay.
Right? And they're just fucking pissed off. They've hired an attorney.
Of course they have.
Who has written up a letter, a strongly worded letter in defense of this church's constitutional right
for parking.
Let's see. This is from the letter. As you know, bicycles have freely and safely traversed the District of Columbia throughout the 90-year history of the United House of Prayer without any protected bicycle lanes and without infringing in the least on the United House of Prayer's religious rights.
Religious rights.
More importantly, as discussed at various points with DDOT, there is another alternative that would simply entail altering the proposed bike lane's route by 1 block. Blah, 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 blah.
Why can't you just go around our church, which is very important and much more important than anything else?
Yeah, and being non-contributing members.
Yeah, non-taxpayers. But it's their religious right.
It's their religious right to not pay taxes.
And their religious right to have parking. They don't
Absolutely.
They don't have to.
How dare you?
Rules don't apply. What about our privilege?
Our parking.
What about our religious privilege?
But they went straight for the religious freedom.
That's so amazing. It's like they don't.
Nobody likes these things when they're first proposed, except for the cyclists, right?
Right.
All the business owners and everybody gets all fucking weirded out by a protected bike lane.
Yeah, our mayor might lose his seat in part because a lot of people are still grumpy about the bike lanes.
Not the people along 300 South. Those retailers love them.
Yeah,
now.
I know a guy who said that that Becker lost his vote just because he ruined Third South. He ruined it. I was like, okay.
Totally off the topic. There's also a very strange billboard up that says, bring back the Jazz Festival. Vote for Jackie. It's like, these are the issues?
Yeah.
Salt Lake City, it's so... Man, we have some serious problems in this city.
Like the Jazz Festival.
The Jazz Festival.
Where did that go?
And these bike lanes. It's just terrible.
Well, there you go.
Problems galore.
Yeah. Well, if your religious freedoms are being infringed upon by a jazz festival or a bike lane, you can feel free to write in and tell us all about it. The address would be podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, do that. Go to the Facebook page, will you, kids? It's facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
Or also on Facebook, you can search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge.
Yeah.
And request to join. Dan will, now that he's back.
Now that I'm back, I did it. I did a sweep once while I was gone, but there's like a 2-week turnaround at least on this thing right now.
Oh, folks, I warned you on the last couple episodes.
Yeah,
it's
tricky, but I'm getting to it. Don't worry.
So go ahead and click to join, and sooner or later,
someday,
you might actually get in.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break. This is Glenn Beck. He had some predictions a few years ago.
Yes,
a couple years ago.
So this is from a couple of years ago.
Right.
And he was predicting what would happen now.
Yeah.
So, and I think he nailed it.
Oh.
I don't know about you, Frank.
He is a real, true seer.
He's a regular Nostradamus, this guy.
Indeed.
I think a year from now, definitely 2. Most of Americans are going to be working part-time. There will be some IMF global tax that will add an extra 10% on everything. The people like me will be out of business. And the people that have done favors for this government will be in business. And they'll be fine. And we'll be the little worker bees. And they will test your children and train them from the very beginning to work for the corporation. But those at the top of the food chain, they'll also have the Google glasses, and they'll be able to, because of the singularity, according to Ray Kurzweil. This isn't science fiction. This is science fact. The London Times just ripped me apart saying, oh, Glenn Beck's afraid of the Terminator. No, I'm not afraid of the Terminator. Read The Singularity is Near by Ray Kurzweil, you pieces of garbage. You people in the press, open your damn eyes. See the future that is just on the horizon. Read Ray Kurzweil. The Singularity is Near. It's not a movie. It's real. And they're telling me right now, don't worry, Glenn. Everybody's going to be able to have the Google glasses. Everybody's going to be able to upload the information and enhance their intelligence. Really? How are you going to do that? Well, we're going to make it so cheap. Really? How are you going to do that?
Oh. The man just goes off the rails.
Oh, my
all
gosh.
the time. Oh.
Well, I'll tell you what he was right about. I still don't have the Google glasses.
Oh.
Do you have the Google glasses?
I don't have the Google glasses.
Man, that guy,
He is.
you pieces of garbage.
Yeah. And where's this part-time stuff? I like that prediction. He says it like it's going to be a bad thing.
Like it's a bad. Yes. Did you see that Sweden just switched to a 6-hour workday?
Oh my God.
Because it's apparently because the data show that it's better for everybody,
Yeah.
including the company.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
What the fuck?
he started out so mellow.
When? In the clip?
Yeah. He's just, and then we're all gonna be,
Right.
part time, and there's going to be extra taxes on us. And
You pieces of garbage!
Dude is nutso. All right. We did have some folks write into us.
Oh, good.
They're kind messages. So I thought I'd read some of those.
Okay, let's do.
Let me just pull those up here. Hi, guys, says Anna. Writing in to vent a bit. Not at you guys, but it's something I hope others can resonate with.
Okay.
A week ago, I was the pedestrian in a pedestrian vehicle accident.
Oh, no.
Yikes. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that sucks.
Fortunately, I'm not dead. That's good. I did spend a fair amount of time in the ER, and a few days couldn't move, and for a few days couldn't move to the point that my family came in from out of town to help me out.
Oh, my God.
I feel compelled to add here that I love my family and am very grateful that they were able to be here to help me. I am, however, a closeted atheist in a family of evangelical extremists.
Oh, no.
I generally avoid bringing up the topic entirely, and I'm pretty sure they just consider me a lost sheep who needs to come back to Jesus. I'm venting because since the initial ambulance ride, there's been an onslaught of comments from complete strangers, family, and everyone in between about how God kept me safe, how I have a guardian angel, and how they are praying for me.
Oh, nice.
My sister even prays for my specific injured body parts each morning and asks God to touch them.
Oh.
You don't know. Maybe getting touched by God in your body parts can be nice. I don't know.
Mary seemed to like it.
Boom. For the most part, for most of the past week, I've been holding in all my comments. With my family, it's out of respect. Religion is huge for them. I doubt any of them have ever considered their own identities without God in the center. And it's my personal decision not to have this confrontation with them yet.
Yeah.
For strangers, I find the topic more interesting. I don't get much pleasure out of being rude to other humans, and I understand that a lot of people need religion, especially to explain things that are out of their control. But I'm wondering if either of you or other listeners have dealt with anything similar before. I don't think there is any significance in the fact that I didn't die other than the physics of the situation. Can you think of any polite ways to converse with religious humans about the chance, other than shrugging and mumbling, yeah, something like that, when someone says, wow, God must have a plan for you.
A plan to be struck by a car, but
Yeah.
then he intervened.
Let me tell you something, Anna. You've got the shittiest guardian angel of all time.
Yeah.
Like, my guardian angel has made sure that I've never been hit by a car. So, like, that's score one for my guardian angel, and yours is
Yeah, he was like asleep on the job.
really, really asleep on the job. Well, thanks for writing in. Yeah, I don't know. How do you handle that when... I get, like, not wanting to shake things up with your family, but, like, especially if you're in a hospital. I hear this all the time. You know, we hear from listeners who are talking about, you know, they're in the hospital, and then, you know, some random dipshit comes in and, like, talks to you about Jesus.
Yeah.
How do you handle that?
Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you know, if you're up for it,
If it's
and you're bored, which I imagine hospital time is, like, boring.
yeah, but
You
if
could
it's
start a
filled with, like,
conversation.
stuff that you find annoying.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is that, like, maybe in some cases, and probably not in most, because people who come to preach at you aren't there to listen.
No.
They're there to spout. But every now and then you might be able to talk somebody and, you know, have an interesting conversation with them about how it feels to you to be there and to not believe, and how it feels when they come in and assume that you do believe.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe you can dissuade them from going door to door thumping Bibles.
Blech.
I'm not sure you can, but I mean, maybe you can have an interesting, kind conversation.
Well, and isn't this conversation though really about her family?
Well, she, there's nothing she can do about her family. If she's not ready to come out to them, if she's making the choice to not make waves, then that's that. Her question was much more about, like, strangers.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if nurses are coming in and they're talking to you about Jesus.
Oh,
boy,
shut the nurse down.
yeah, I would be
There's,
if
like,
it's a
no
hospital
question.
if it's a hospital worker, I would be like, A, don't ever say any Jesus-y stuff to me. If you want to pray for me, fine, do it outside, do it wherever in your own time. I don't care, but
Right.
don't bring it in here. and don't allow anybody to come in who's just going to preach at me.
Right.
That's a reasonable thing to say. And then they'll tell on you to your family. I'm just kidding. I don't know if they do that.
Better not. What about all this like confidentiality and crap?
HIPAA?
Yeah.
Does HIPAA apply to Jesus?
Better.
It better. Hello, fellas, says Kyle. Very recent listener here. I just started with your 200th episode, so it's more like Frank and Mark to me instead of Frank and Dan. Great. But I just wanted to go ahead and disagree with your assessment of the worthwhileness of Facebook confrontations.
Ah.
I have been... now, you want to...
So Mark and I, in response to a listener's question about how to talk on Facebook, like, she really wanted to, like, start talking politics and whatnot on Facebook, but she was a little concerned about, the reaction, and she'd been getting some reaction from family and whatnot. And we kind of were like, if you're really trying to like have a conversation with someone, you might just want to take it offline. That's usually where you're going to have the most effective conversations, rather than this Facebook place where intentions can be misunderstood and all that kind of stuff.
This coming from two men who don't go on Facebook ever.
Yeah, that's true. We prefer to do things offline, which is why we had the advice.
Right. So Kyle has this to say. I disagree with you on your assessment. I've been rather proactive of late in regards to lobbing grenades at Woo and spearing and various other nonsense, mostly from my Arkansas friends. Very closed-minded mentalities distress me on a daily basis, so I figure it's a small part that I can do to introduce some rationality into people's circles. And I go after the information contained, not the people, which doesn't necessarily mean that they will do the same, but oh well. I have had several beneficial conversations from rattling some cages, and even sent a few friend requests after a heated, respectful debate cooled down. I always think about friends of friends who might just be watching the topics unfold on their various devices and perhaps getting introduced to some new perspective or new idea they've never considered. Then that person may go out and meet someone in their lives with similar ideas to mine and not think less of them instantly because they've heard the perspectives before. I know it sounds like the exception and not the rule, but I feel it's a duty to be very proactive socially, and my main method is Facebook. So here's the thing. I'm not gonna side entirely with Kyle, but I am gonna side with him on this point, and that is that I think Facebook is an excellent place to have to explore these conversations, and I also side with him on the idea that there's a bit of a duty not to let things just go unchecked.
Right.
You have to gauge this for yourself, but I have had great success in getting myself blocked by people. No, I'm just kidding. I've had great success in actually gently asking questions of people who and I don't like the idea of a heated debate. If you get heated on Facebook, everybody shuts down.
Right.
Everybody just starts screaming and nobody is listening. But if you can be careful and if you can be earnest,
right,
you can actually make some very interesting headway. And I've had friends who have stopped posting like really nutty stuff,
right,
because I don't let it go unanswered.
Right.
I make sure that there's another viewpoint that's presented every time.
Going back to what the caller was asking, or the emailer, I can't remember which one it was. I now remember the details of it. It was specifically about the World Conference of Families.
Oh, yeah.
She wanted to sort of start really preaching about that to her Mormon family.
Sure.
And so our advice was, they're kind of a butt-clenching group that will...
Yeah.
They're they get defensive very, very, very quickly.
Right.
And so...
They're very sensitive.
It might be best to, with something so specific, and that hasn't been your MO, is being very political on your Facebook, then maybe just, tread lightly.
Tread light. I say don't tread. I just say be advised. in your treading.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Kyle, for your perspective. And Nate wrote in. Nate has written in before to ask our advice about coming out to his parents. He's a young'un.
Oh, yeah.
Who was trying to come out as was he the one that was trying to come out as both gay and atheist or just atheist? I don't remember.
I can't remember.
Sorry, Nate.
The details.
You're very important to us, but I don't know. Anyway, he says, "Hey, Frank and Dan, just wanted to write and let you guys know how my coming out went with my parents. I sent them an email, and they called after they read it. They were very accepting. They didn't try to convert me or demand my reasons so they could dispute them. They just wanted to be sure that I still wanted to be part of the family and that I have some moral standard. I think it helped that my dad was there to calm my mom down this time. Last time I tried to come out to her, she didn't take it so well. And in hindsight, it would have helped to have if my dad had been around. He was in prison at the time. He's always been the more reasonable one, and he did most of the talking on the other end. Anyway, I just wanted to update you guys on the situation, and thank you for the podcast, the wonderful advice, and for setting up the members-only lounge, which provided a major source of support for me.
Fantastic.
So, good job, Nate.
Woo-hoo!
I'm very glad that went as well as it did.
Yeah, absolutely.
There were probably still some bumps in the road ahead for you. Be aware of that. It's not over just because that part went well, but it's not. But you cleared the major hurdle, so good job. We're very happy for you.
Yeah.
So, Franklin,
We have a voicemail.
we have a voicemail.
Yeah, this is in response to something that we said, a story I think that you did, Dan, about the Canada Post, or maybe I did it, I can't remember. But you said something about the mail carriers in Canada.
No, I just said that Canada Post, as an organization, isn't always the promptest way to get something from point A to point B.
Well, someone had, a listener had something to say about that.
Frank, Dan, this is Rick from the Great White North. I just finished listening to one of your podcasts, and I'm frankly concerned for your safety. I mean, it is one thing to piss off the Mormons. It's one thing to piss off the fundamentalist Christians. It's another thing to piss off ISIS. But now you've gone too far. The Canadian Post Office. The Canadian Post Office, I'll have you know, I am a letter carrier. Actually, we're called delivery agents now. Thank you very much. And I really took exception to your claim that we are slow. Slow? You think we're slow? Okay. If we're slow, when we're slow, do you know what the weather is like up here? It snows every fucking day. Okay? It snows all the goddamn time. What do you expect? At least we get it delivered. It gets there eventually. Jesus Christ. I had this vision of just like an army of delivery agents just trudging through the snow on their way to Utah to kick your ass. Oh, God. Anyway, all kidding aside, the flyer, it's actually a flyer that you're talking about, the abortion thing. It's a flyer. And it's kind of funny. It's not funny. It's graphic. It is super graphic. And they make a claim that Justin Trudeau believes in abortion right up to the point of birth, right into 9 months. It's absolutely hilarious. And I came across it on my route. I didn't deliver it. Someone else delivered it. And I was thinking, you know, how passionate can these guys be that they started delivering and then they realized, holy shit, man, this is a lot of freaking work. Let's just get Canada Post to do it. Anyway, love your show. Be well, guys. Bye.
There you go.
An angry postal carrier.
Don't go on postal.
Even the Canadian.
Even the Canadians. Yeah, right. You get your army together, and as soon as you get to my door, I'll just tell you you're being rude, and you'll apologize and leave. I know Canadians.
Silliness.
Anyway, thanks for the call there.
Yeah. We got a good chuckle out of that, so thank you.
Do we have some donors to thank?
We do have some donors. Let me pull them up real quick.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to remind our listeners that we've had some switches of late. We've had to move things around. So for those of you who might be considering donation but haven't done it yet, we're on Patreon now. That's where you need to look for us. It's patreon.com/what?
TGI Atheist.
/TGI Atheist.
Yep.
We're pretty easy to find, and that's where you can go and check us out.
Yeah. And we've got all sorts of different levels and whatnot that you can pledge your support at. And so we really do appreciate it. Let's see. I think I have this right. I think I'm starting at the right spot in the list.
Okay.
So let's thank Brandon, Skylar, Dave, Stephen, and Brian.
Awesome.
For their support, for joining up. And the way that this works is it's a per episode donation now.
Yeah.
You only get charged once a month. It doesn't charge you every time that happens. Thank God, because they've got credit card fees.
Yeah.
And so just once a month, and it saves us a lot of money. But
yeah, you guys, you sign up. It automatically tracks when we drop an episode, and you guys are and you guys become a part of making this show what it is. And again, we had designs on some big improvements. We still have designs on that, but unfortunately, because things sort of blew up with our other campaign, we weren't able to get to it. So we're hoping that you guys can help us get pushed through to get this to get us even better. Yeah. All we want to be is even better. Is that okay is that okay with you guys? If we do a better show, is that fine?
Yeah. All right.
All right. So,
well, Dan.
Yes. It's an anniversary.
It is an anniversary. It's an anniversary that people, some of our listeners might have been around and knew about this when it happened 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But it is the 30th anniversary of the whole Mark Hoffman nonsense.
Right.
This month, right? Is it the anniversary of the murders?
It is the anniversary of like a conviction, or I'm not even sure.
Let's see. No, on October 15, 1985, he killed the first person in his little murdering spree. So backing up.
Yeah,
who is this guy?
We're a little ahead of ourselves.
Who is Mark Hoffman?
One Mark William Hoffman. He was an interesting character. Mormon.
Yes.
An LDS fella.
Yes.
Who became a forger. He and one of the most successful forgers, basically, of all time. He started off by creating a document. That he was selling to the Mormon Church, that he approached the Mormon Church about selling, which he claimed he was folded up inside a 17th century King James Bible.
Right.
And this was meant to be a document that Joseph Smith, that Martin Harris had presented to a guy named Charles Anthon, who was a Columbia professor, a classics professor, or a Columbia classics professor. I don't know if that's a thing. Anyway, he purported to be one of Joseph Smith's documents,
right? And it was like in like the little hieroglyphic stuff that Joseph Smith claimed that the Book of Mormon, this Reformed Egyptian,
right. Joseph Smith claimed that he was translating the Book of Mormon from an ancient Egyptian style hieroglyphic.
And that's what the Nephites had written the Book of Mormon in. It was Reformed Egyptian, right? So anywho.
So Hoffman forged that thing. He got paid. The church didn't really want it out and about, so they paid him $20,000 for it, and a new career was born.
Yeah.
He ended up doing a bunch of different forgeries. It kind of spiraled a little bit out of control, but the most famous of his forgeries was a letter purportedly written by Martin Harris, who is Joseph Smith's kind of right-hand man guy, that presented a different version of Joe Smith's story of how he found the golden plates.
Right.
So the church at that time had one solid version that was the official version of how that happened.
Right.
We now know that there are many versions that Joseph Smith himself actually wrote that differ from each other in fairly significant ways.
Right.
None of them this significant, though. This one says that he was told where the plates were by a white salamander.
Yeah. So that got a few people at the church kind of concerned, you might say.
Yeah.
One of those people was Gordon B. Hinckley.
Sure.
You might recognize the name. He was in the first presidency at the time, back in 1980, I think is when this was going down. But he ended up being the actual prophet and president of the church later on.
Sure.
And was a much beloved figure in the church higher-ups. The Mormon public just loved the man. But anyway, back in 1980, he was almost kind of an acting president of the church. The men who were the prophet of the church at the time was Spencer W. Kimball, and he was ailing, and so Gordon B. Hinckley was the one who was
the man.
He was out there, and he was responsible for the church, and he got completely duped by this whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, the salamander letter, by the way, appeared in 1984. Just to
it did?
on that. Yeah.
Okay.
And here's the thing: the Mormon Church, they were panicked by all of these new documents that were coming out, but they were acknowledging them. Like they believed these things. They were authenticating them. Their own people were authenticating them, and they were good enough forgeries that they believed them. So I mean, they were already in like damage control mode. There's stories of Dallin Oaks, who's one of the apostles of the LDS Church still to this day.
Right.
He's like 4,000 years old. I'm pretty sure that he's the crypt keeper at this point. But he he said he like went to Mormon educators and was like trying to do all this damage control. Like white salamander, that could be considered like, a mythical being, sort of. It doesn't have. It's the same as an angel. Let's just say this: it's the same as an angel. It's the same thing. Don't worry about it. Things, yeah, you got a little goofy, there for a while.
Well, and there was another thing that he came forward with, which the salamander letter is sort of the one that is like, that's the one that
everybody
hear about.
Remembers. Yeah,
there was this other one that I hadn't really ever heard about, which sort of contradicted the church's line of succession, sort of the setup. Who did Joseph Smith want to succeed him as the president and prophet? Right. And the Brighamites, of course, have always, which is mainstream Mormons,
right?
They've always claimed that it was supposed to be the president of the most senior apostle, right? And the restored,
the reorganized,
thank you,
Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, now known as the Community of Christ.
Yes, that's true. They've always claimed that it was that it was supposed to go to Joseph Smith's son,
right?
And
Joe the Third,
exactly, yeah. And so this sided with the RLDS.
Right.
And
it
presented this whole.
It was meant to be
letter.
this was meant to be the blessing where he actually conferred this upon, wasn't it?
No, I think it was a letter that was who was it? it was sort of a witness. It was sort of a second party to the whole thing, but it would have been very.
Well, no, I'm saying it provided, it had evidence that this blessing had occurred.
Yes, but it wasn't the blessing.
No, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
so that got everybody in a little bit of a tizzy. The downtown the Mormon church said no, we're not going to buy that one, and so he goes to the RLDS and got them going, and then I guess it kind of turned into this little bit of a fight as to who was going to end up with it.
right.
And so he was just stirring the pot. Like,
Yeah.
he knew just the buttons to push, and somehow everybody kept believing him when he would come forward with yet another amazing discovery.
Well, the thing is, he started a rare book store, and like he would claim that he had all of these sort of spy, like a network of people who would seek out families that had family heirlooms in their attic or whatever. He claimed that he had this whole he had the town wired.
oh yeah,
The Mormons, he had his finger in every pie. No, not that he limited himself to that. He also had sold faked signatures of other famous people that weren't Mormons.
oh yeah,
George Washington, John Adams, John Quincy Adams, Mark Twain.
yeah.
Anyway, what's really weird about this is that none of it, he lived so lavish a lifestyle that even all of his forgeries couldn't support it. And eventually he started promising forgeries, claiming that he had forgeries that he didn't have, so that people would give him money so that he could. So he owed money all over town. He was in a pickle.
This man was sloppy.
And his pickle ended up his way out of his pickle was to blast his way out, and he ended up murdering 2 people with bombs.
Oh my God.
And almost himself. He almost killed himself with a bomb as well. It blew up in his car.
Yeah. Yeah, these were horrible little bombs. These were like they looked as though they'd been left by a delivery service, right? And when people would pick them up, they would explode.
Yeah.
The first guy was sort of maimed and died in the hall. And then a woman, I forget what her relation was to the whole thing, she died instantly. So
yeah, and these were actually not really related to his forgeries.
He was trying to throw the police off his track, right? Isn't that kind of what he was up to?
Well, I think he owed them significant
Is that what it was?
money, and he was trying to get out of it.
Okay.
Anyway, weird. The main thing is, he's in jail now. He's been caught for all of his forgeries. I guess what's interesting about this for me, it's almost a Poe's Law issue. If you what he was capitalizing on, because he wasn't trying to sell forged American history documents or forged, Gutenberg Bibles or anything like that.
Right.
Like, he could have made more money if he had come up with, Benjamin Franklin's lost letter to something or whatever.
Right.
Except that he knew he could just write what the fuck ever he wanted on a piece of paper, and as long as it had this religious thing attached to it, it's believable.
Yeah.
It's this crazy thing. He had the entire church believing that Joseph Smith had a vision of a salamander.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
A talking salamander.
He knew the right target. I mean, the Mormon Church has, and the anybody who's been around long enough knows how cuckoo the founding story actually is, and how cuckoo Joseph Smith was,
right?
And so it's a messy history, right?
Right.
And so to come along with some of these documents and introduce really wacky things, it worked.
Yeah. You can't go cuckoo enough for it to seem unreasonable.
Right. And you have people who are charged with being one step away from God,
Right.
who are being duped into this whole thing.
Right, exactly.
Like these are the men who are supposed to know more about the faith and more about, the whole thing.
And they've got magic powers.
And they have magic power.
They've got the magic power of discernment.
Ooh.
It's a
Amazing.
That's a specific priesthood power that you're meant to have.
I know. I had it. It was amazing.
You could discern anything.
I could discern. I was a really good discerner.
You would discern the fuck out
I
of
would not have
whatever.
been taken by this whole thing.
You're like, well, that does look like old paper. So, but wait, my spidey discernment sense is telling me something's not right.
You took that out of another old book, didn't you?
Yeah, that was one of his things, is that he would like go to the library and check out really old books that are from the correct time period and just rip out that last page.
Right.
It was just chilling.
I wasn't doing anything.
Just blank.
Might as well use it for something.
Yeah, why you leaving blank pages in the books? Oh, I'm taking it. That's forgery material right there.
Oh my God.
Anyway, there you go. It's once the duping begins, Joseph Smith started it, and they're vulnerable to this day.
Well, and I read an article in the Tribune earlier this week that
would
was
be the
talking
Salt Lake
about
Tribune.
Yeah, the Salt Lake Tribune. That was talking about how what they've been doing to try to never get duped like this again.
Uh-huh.
And part of it has been an effort to just kind of have more of the history out there.
Oh,
Like the Joseph Smith papers or whatever, that big multi-volume, book that's come out, so that people can actually so that it's out there.
right.
And if you, because it's a lot harder to come along with a wacky story. If you're an open organization, you're not going to get all weirded out about this weird little letter that you might want to tuck away.
Yeah.
Right. Because no, your policy is to be open. How do you dupe that organization into that?
Right.
Now, granted, they're still a little weird about their history. I mean, yeah. Anyway,
they're just weird. But it is. I mean, it's that thing of once you start believing nonsense.
yeah.
Hard to know where to draw that line. Anyway, if you guys have anything that you'd like to say to us, any comments you'd like to make about on all of this that we've been spouting off about, we're here for you. Just write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail. The phone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, that 666 keeps all of the Christians away. They can't call us.
Cry.
Their fingers would light on fire as they tried to dial.
Oh my God.
Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
Or also on Facebook, you can search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge.
Sure can.
Request to join.
Yeah. Hey, listen. If you want to be a part of making this show, we sure appreciate some patronage. Go to patreon.com/TGIAtheist and sign up.
Yeah.
Help out.
Absolutely.
It can be as little as $1 an episode.
Amazing.
That's it. Yeah, that's all you need. Anyway, thanks so much to Mackenzie for all of her hard work on the Facebook page. She's just a peach.
And thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for letting us use their music.
Yeah. And thank you, dear listener, for tuning in. We sure appreciate it.
Bye.